My name is Bill Sagrinos. I do a weekly podcast on classic Volkswagens called Let's Talk Dubs. I first got into Volkswagens in 1988. My first Volkswagen was featured in Hot VWs in 2003, followed by my next Volkswagen in 2009 in Hot VWs. I did a TV show called Bull Run in 2008. After that, I wanted a new project to work on. That's the project we're going to talk about today, a 1962 double cab called the Carbon Cab. So you can't just build something that looks fast. It has to actually be fast. So the plan then turned into going with a big Type 4 motor, a 2.6 liter with 48 IDAs, and a tall geared transaxle for this thing ripping down the Autobahn, or the freeway here. This thing is a beast. Not only is it fast, but it's got to have big brakes. So I put 4-piston, 944 turbo brakes on all 4 corners. So not only is this thing faster than fast, but it'll stop on a dime and give you 9 cents change. What's different about the pickup truck versus the regular Samba is that you're able to actually use it a lot more utilitarian-like. I take it to swap meets, load up my podcast gear, throw it in the back, and I can haul this thing and still cruise around with seating for 6. So it's pretty rad. Not only that, but I've got a series sound system in it with 210s, Polk audio separates all the way around with carbon fiber style cones. So we kept the carbon fiber theme going throughout. And of course, it's got the telltale gigantic tack on the dash to let you know this bus means business. My concept for it started with the Tech Art version of the Porsche Cayenne, which was just recently introduced a few years prior. Meteor gray with platinum fixtures and finishes. Accents with red brakes, I thought was the perfect idea for this double cab. The concept was to make it look like it was going 100 miles an hour standing still, with some compliments from the R series Porsches from the early 911 days. Well, as a matter of fact, the magazine that started it all should be, I think it's right here. Yeah, so this was the magazine here. You see my mom wrote somebody's phone number and name on the magazine, but this was the one that started it all for me. This magazine I got, and then seeing Cat's Rag in here just really kicked things off for me. It was a whole nother wild thing, just the coolest photo feature ever. I mean, I think every kid who grew up like this, like me, was thinking he was going to land himself a girl like that, right? So it was kind of that selling me a lifestyle. Cat's Rag, I was all in. And then funny enough, later on, I would get this magazine, which was How to Customize Your Volkswagen, spring '89 issue. I got this magazine. I now own this car. So the Chop Top, which this was my go-to, this was kind of my go-to Bible. This had a year-by-year change for Volkswagens that it showed you every change from every year from production figures. And so I would just sit home and study this. And one day I was going to look for this or that. And then I started making myself an expert. I'd read all the different changes and I could stand there on a street corner, tell you what year that bug was from across the street, and tell you from the way the vent windows were to the tailpipes, to the headlights, the bumpers, all the little different intricacies between the Volkswagen year by year changes. So for me, it became this obsession that started super early, you know, but these magazines, that's where it started for me, man, right there. So originally when I had it painted, I brought it back to my house and started putting the car together. Didn't have a lot of time with 4 young kids at the time and just trying to squeeze in weekends on top of everything else that I'm doing. So I reached out to my brother's shop at the Wagon and just dropped the project off over there so him and his team could just finish up the car for me.
My name is George Chagrinos. I have a shop in Vegas called The Wagon, and Bill T's my brother. So Bill T was building the carbon cab himself and needed a little bit of assistance, so he dropped it off at my shop. So me and a couple of my friends, Chuck Greenwood, Jessica Barbeau, and Mike Boyer, handled the assembly of all the exterior stuff, including the external oil cooler, the wiring, and just basically all the exterior assembly, lights and emblems and whatnot. It was a really cool project to work on. The thing's awesome. It's got a crazy power plant in it, and it looks damn good. It's innovative like everything else my brother builds. A couple other cool features. Everything you see that says carbon cab, our friend Eric Black owns Sunkist Graphics. He used the Porsche font to have the carbon cab logo made, and we incorporated those on all 4 rotors. We got a nice small one on the dashboard. It looks very much like something that Porsche would have done on the vehicle had they built it themselves. All the accents on the paint and the interior upholstery that has the carbon fiber effect really add to make this like a complete package. It's a very beautiful bus. It's well built. It's got power. It's got brakes. It's got everything you want out of a VW bus and then some. With the other features that Bill has with all the carbon accents and the silver pinstriping, Bill has always been a big fan of Rossi headlights, and I am not a fan of them. But this is one bus that they look excellent on. Because of the more modern feature to look more like a actual product that Porsche would have made, the Rossi headlights with the H4 bulbs in them, they look absolutely stellar. So that was one cue that my brother did that I really liked. For the brakes on this, we got 944 turbos on it, and they stopped this thing amazingly. With all the power it has, it's a good thing that you did upgrade the brakes because you need every bit of it with this thing. With the 7s in the front and the 9s in the back, it's very stable at high speeds. And we also incorporated a 928 transmission cooler in the dimple dies in the front bumper, which actually it's a functioning oil cooler for the vehicle. I do have a temperature bypass in the middle. We have one external cooler. Once that one gets overworked, the bypass will open up and the oil starts going to the front of the vehicle to get cooled off by the 928 transmission cooler.
Ready?
Okay.
If you want to check out the podcast at all, it's everywhere there's podcasts are played, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, any place that they have podcasts. You can just search Let's Talk Dubs. You can check out our YouTube channel, Let's Talk Dubs on YouTube, and follow us on Facebook, and also check out some pretty cool videos that I do with Vegas Micah G on Instagram. So feel free to check that stuff out. And if you're into the hobby, I know there's no question you'll enjoy the podcast, because what makes the podcast so great is my guests are the people that make this hobby so great. Just people that have contributed so much, whether it was guys that have invented something or developed suspension parts and pieces or car customizers or whatever it is, they're all Volkswagen connected. And that's what really makes the hobby so great. And it's my honor to interview a lot of these people and bring you guys this content. So check it out. Let's talk dubs.